morning to you, Emily. Really good to have you on the programme with us. So let's start with that, shall we? Keir Starmer refusing to apologise for those very provocative and aggressive adverts that we've seen on Twitter. The one this week accusing Rishi Sunak of not thinking child sex abusers should go to prison. We're being told that there's more provocative and aggressive adverts coming on the way about the economy. I mean, this isn't true, is it? It's no better than trolling, really. The Labour Party looks like the nasty party at the moment.
So what I say is this, is that are there objective facts in this? Yes, there are. And can the person who you're having a go at do something about it, or are they responsible for it? Yes. Rishi Sunak is in charge of the government, and this government has been in power for 13 years, and during that time, the criminal justice system has collapsed. It is in the most terrible state. And Keir Starmer has made it he's dedicated his life to ensuring that the criminal justice system works properly. And he feels very strongly about this and is being very blunt about it. And yeah, we stand by this. If Rishi Sunak really wanted to stop child sex offenders from staying out of jail, he could do something about it, but he is not doing anything about it. They are not taking their failures seriously, and they should be doing a great deal more than they are.
Keir Starmer was on the sentencing review panel in 2012 when this was all discussed. I mean, some of this is down to him, isn't it?
No, it's not, because the Sentencing Review Board, what they do is they ensure that there's consistency of sentence. That's what their job is. It is up to government to set the tone and to say what the minimum and the maximum sentences are. The Attorney General will get references if there has been an unduly lenient sentence, and the public can send complaints to the Attorney General. She can then decide whether to send a case to the Court of Appeal. During the 2 years when Suella Braverman was the Attorney General, 29 cases were sent to her of child sex abuse, and she sent only 2 of them to the Court of Appeal, even though those people had not been given immediate custodial sentences. 100 child pornographers were sent to her, and she sent, I believe, 9 to the Court of Appeal. It is disgraceful. They do not take this matter seriously, and Labour does, and Keir Starmer does, and we're going to do something about it. We cannot continue to have too few police, too few arrests, too long waits to get into court, and then when you get to court, then the judge is being told by the Lord Chief Justice to think twice about sending people to prison because the prisons are so crowded. That's how bad it is. And when people are released, they're not being supervised properly.
Let me get a word in, Emily Thornberry.
Crimes.
Let me get a word in. I mean, the point with this is, and everyone has said, you know, there are issues to be discussed here, serious issues and failings on the government's part over the last 13 years. And you said these posters have got you know, objective facts in. But what is not an objective fact is saying should child sex abusers go to prison? Rishi Sunak doesn't think so, because that's not actually a fact, is it?
The fact is that if he wanted to do something about it, he could do something about it, and he hasn't. And the Tories haven't. And the waits for going to court have got longer. And there are fewer arrests. Do you know what? If you're burgled, you have a 4% chance of your burglar being arrested and sent to court. If you are raped, there is a 1.6% chance. If you go and see the police and complain about a rape, a 1.6% chance of your case going to court. And when it does go to court, you have to wait more than 3 years. We want to talk about this. We want there to be a national debate, and we want to hold this government to account. It is the job of the opposition to hold the government to account, but particularly on this, which is so bad. And Keir Starmer feels particularly strongly about it, and so do I, quite frankly.
Are you worried, though, that this attack ad policy is going to backfire? There's a recent poll that found 57% of people say politicians should show more compassion. I just wanted to share an email that we've had in from a viewer who says Labour has lost what it stands for. It has become a party that is devoted to smears on others, not a party of relevance on policy. Is Labour misreading how you win an election?
So, you know, I would love it if we just talked about policy in a calm way and we never talked about anything else. But the truth is, during my whole time as being an MP, I have not seen that. And before I became an MP, the smears that would be thrown at the likes of Neil Kinnock or Gordon Brown, you know, were appalling, quite frankly. The truth is that you know that leaders are responsible for the policy and for failures. You know, I remember writing an article about Liz Truss and how I hoped that if people, you know, if it was so important her being a woman leader, that she would do something about the fact that we were failing when it came to the amount of people being prosecuted for rape. But nothing happened in relation to that. Boris Johnson, as well, was another one. I mean, Boris Johnson said he was going to have an end-to-end review of rape cases and bring back rape cases back to the same levels of prosecutions as they were in 2015. And then he said it was all very difficult. And, of course, nothing was done about it. People need to be held to account for these things. You know, governments can do this stuff. And as I say, you know, Rishi Sunak can't get up in Parliament and brag about the criminal justice system and not be held to account for everything that is happening. You know, he is the leader, he is the Prime Minister. Prime Ministers should be answerable for this, and the public are angry about just how bad the criminal justice system is. You know, how many phone calls have you had, or text messages have you had, of people trying to scam you or defraud you? You know, I mean, it happens all the time, and for many of us it's just a nuisance, but for some people who are the most vulnerable, they're the ones who are getting conned out of their savings. And it can ruin people's lives. And all we have is a government that shrugs its shoulders and says that it's all too hard. Well, it's not too hard. You can do something about it. And today we're launching a policy where we are calling on the government to stop these scam calls from abroad and to stop them being allowed to be what's called spoof calls, where they claim that they've got a British telephone number when actually they're ringing from abroad. Because people don't answer the phone. If they see an international number that they don't recognise, they're more likely to see a UK number that they don't recognise and answer that. And it's that way that they get to elderly people sitting in their homes in the afternoon and try and con them out of their life savings. That's the sort of thing we should be talking about, and I'd love to talk about it today.
Well, you've just raised it, so there you go. But I mean, whereas it's a you know, something, but where it's something people will be very concerned about, does that mean your next ad on Twitter is going to say, you know, should you be, you know, do you agree that you should be scammed on phone calls? Rishi Sunak does. It's about as relevant as anything else you've put out there.
There is, I mean, if people want to look out for the ad, it is out today, and it's about phone calls and phones ringing and where it is that they look like they're coming from, but actually where they are coming from, because we do need to warn people. Do you know that last week the Ministry of Justice were having to warn people that their own phone number was being used for scam calls? I mean, that's how bad it is. I mean, the irony seems to be beyond them.
OK, look, we have to leave it there, Emily Thornberry. As always, it's really good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed.
Lovely to talk to you.
Thank you.